Welcome to Lanterns Live. It's Ralph, and today I'm discussing Green Lantern First Flight, the first animated movie starring Green Lantern. And I'm not doing it alone. From a bunch of things, including animation fascination, I am joined by Marc Vibert. Marc, welcome to the show.
Hello there.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's just telling you how I'm getting FOMO because I'm not at San Diego Comic-Con, which for me is maybe a 2-hour drive. Something like that, and I'm like,
for me it'd be like 5.
I could just be there, and I haven't decided, and I should probably decide, but maybe I won't. We'll see.
Treat yourself.
If I get tempted to go.
Treat yourself. You deserve a mini vacation.
I don't know. I didn't do any work today, like work, but I feel like I already took too much time off. You know what I've been doing like the last couple days? So I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if this is interesting to anybody, but there is but Amazon owns IMDb, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens on Prime Day is they have IMDb Pro for cheap. It's the cheapest you can get it is on Prime Day. And I'm like, all right, I'm producing, I'll do this thing. And I've been filling the database with every single podcast episode that I've ever done since 2006.
Oh man.
And it's been going crazy. So I started with Lanterns Live because I'm like, oh, there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you go and look at your IMDb page, this episode's already on IMDb nice. With the show notes and with you as yourself. So
nice.
It was like a prophecy. It happened.
There you go.
So, I don't know if you want that on your IMDb page.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it is one of those things where I'm like, oh, I'm here. I could just do this now and not have to worry about it later. And so I was like, yeah.
Right now my IMDb is mostly NFL games.
Sound.
Yeah,
stuff.
basically. Yeah.
So there you go. Now you have a Lanterns Live on there. So yeah, apparently you could put podcast series on there. And I'm like,
oh man.
Dude, I'm like, today I spent all day adding all 110 issues of my comic book brain episodes of the Kaiju podcast. And I'm like more than halfway through putting in the plot details. And then when I'm done with that, putting in all the art for each episode. I'm going crazy.
Oh,
I feel like, I've been doing this work for, since 2006, might as well.
Yeah. Now I feel lazy because I had saw that you could add podcasts to it. And I was like, oh, that's too many. And I've only got the 3.
So. Yeah. But you have how many episodes of animation fascination do you think you have?
At least, so numbered ones, at least 125.
Right. And the back end of IMDb is not user friendly. It feels like the back end was built in probably 2002 or something.
Yeah.
It's real gnarly.
Yeah. Adding any of those NFL games is a hassle and a half to try to find the game that it was. And then was it NFL on Fox? Was it this? Was it listed as a season or whatever? So yeah.
I just been at it. I hate data entry so much, and that's what this is. But I'm like, I've gone too deep.
Yeah,
I'm gone too.
It's
too late now. Yeah. So this is your first time on Lanterns Live. Welcome. And I asked this of all my guests: what is your secret origins with the character Green Lantern? And it doesn't. You don't have to impress anybody. It's just, do you like as far as the character goes? What was your introduction? Are you a fan? Are you all of that stuff?
So I was aware of Green Lantern, mostly the John Stewart version of Green Lantern from the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Bruce Timm animated series from when I was growing up. And then outside of that, the Ryan Reynolds movie, and then you suggested the Giancarlo Volpe animated series that was excellent. Right. So those are my major forays into it. Outside of that, I'm not I don't know I'm probably me to Spider-Man is you to Green Lantern. So
Right.
Like I know you have a Green Lantern tattoo, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Have I showed it on the podcast? Yeah, there you go.
maybe because yeah.
I
So
don't know if I have.
maybe not.
I'm wearing a short enough sleeve shirt.
There you go.
Might as well do it here.
Maybe it's time.
I think I've done it. I think I have. I'm not sure. I might have just shown someone in private, but yeah, I have the. Yeah, my arm's real awesome looking, but yeah, there we
Nice.
go. Come on, there it is.
Nice.
I had that since like 1999, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Looks pretty good
And
for
then I
being,
got my
being that old.
yeah,
Yeah.
my Kyle Rayner statue. Do you have any Spider-Man statues? I shouldn't have this, by the way. This is a quarter scale statue. I might have to do like a review on it or something, but Kyle's head is like this big. It's huge. Like if I walk back there, like it's it's a good 8 feet away, so it doesn't look too big on the screen, but from the bottom to the top is like the size of my torso, and I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
So it's massive.
Yeah, I don't think I have any statues, but I have plenty of Spidey stuff. Like I have the Spidey PS5.
I have the Vader PS4.
There's a bunch of Spider-Man Funko. Oh yeah, nice. Over like just off screen over here. Actually, yeah, there's Spider-Man sticker right here. So
yeah.
And behind Green Lantern right here is a bunch of Spider-Man comics, and then the DC comics are right here.
I'm pretty sure now. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's the Green Lantern comic that you sent me.
Yeah, and then also the DVD, or was it the animated series? I think I sent you something. I'm trying to indoctrinate people, and I think that's part of what the show is getting people to get into Green Lantern.
Yeah,
I'm going to force them to watch the animated series because I think it's wonderful, and there's not a whole lot of Green Lantern stuff out there. There's very few animated things that are Green Lantern related, and like the latest one, Beware My Power, which does star Jon Stewart. I just don't like it. I don't think it's very good. And I'm not one to be like, oh, it's different than the books, because it's very different from the books, but to the point where it's like, I don't know why they did all this. What is even the point of having Jon Stewart?
Yeah.
If you're going to completely change everything about the character. And then there's Green Lantern Emerald Knights, which is another animated series, animated film, which is like an anthology vignettes. That I really enjoy. But the first one, and my favorite one, is Green Lantern First Flight, which is what we watched. Had you seen this before? Did we talk about this? Have we talked about Green Lantern on Animation Fascination? I think we have.
Well, I know that we talked about the animated series because there's an episode of it that you're on like years ago that was called like the Green Lantern of Sector 2012, because it was about the Green Lantern animated series, and it was about like a preview of how old it was. It was 12 years ago, definitely, because it was movies coming out in 2012, so that's why it was the Green Lantern of Sector 2012.
Right,
but I don't know if we talked about.
It had to have been that.
I think you and I have definitely talked about Green Lantern on Animation Fascination at some point within the past 15 years or so.
I think so. I think you're right.
You'll have to go find all those episodes from Animation Fascination and add those to your IMDb too.
Oh, geez, Louise. It wouldn't be hard because I know I've only been on like a handful of times, but it's when I look at like the Dharmalars, and the Dharmalars, we did 100 and I think it's like 150 episodes on there or something. And it's just like, holy crap. I just open up like 20 tabs at a time. I just copy and paste titles from my WordPress site and then manually add in the date. I've gotten quick at it, but at the same time, it's like once you're done, now you got to go add the plot synopsis. And then once you're done with that, then you got to go do the art. And it's just like, you just go through your entire feed like at least 4 times. And I think, all right, let's do a podcast. I think has the most episodes, and I haven't even started to tackle that one yet.
That'll be fun.
Getting there.
It'll be fun for Kevin to have all that stuff added to his IMDb too.
Right. What were your thoughts on? You'd seen this before, right? Green Lantern First Flight.
Yeah, not in a
Okay.
while. Probably like I probably
some
watched
years
it like when it came out, and then haven't
Right.
watched it since. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I saw the way that you kind of described it in your show notes for this on YouTube was that it was kind of like a Training Day esque kind
Yeah.
of Green Lantern origin story. Which reading that I was like, yeah, that. But I was like, man, Sinestro is just like a douche from the beginning.
Yeah. So
Like,
that
no one can tell he's a bad guy
no,
besides his name
not even
being
with the name.
Sinestro.
It's so funny because a lot of times to try to soften the name Sinestro, they'll use his first name also, which is
Oh yeah.
Thaal, Thaal, and so they'll call him Thaal Sinestro, and you're like, okay, that it softens the severity of his last name.
Yeah.
And in the comics, he was always bad. He was always known as a rogue Green Lantern. His first introductions in like the Silver Ages, he shows up in his like blue and black outfit with his yellow ring, and it's explained like he was ruling his planet with an iron fist to make sure everything was perfect, and it got to his head, and he became corrupt with power, and then sort of distanced himself from the Green Lanterns. In Jeff Johns' run, which was going on around the time this was made, Sinestro we did get more glimpses in that book that you have back there, The Secret Origins, has Sinestro as a Green Lantern, and he's not, I don't think he's bad through any of it. He's just like a Green Lantern. And if anybody says that John Stewart is the greatest Green Lantern, which is a new story that happened recently, in Infinite Crisis 3, they mentioned John Stewart as the greatest Green Lantern of them all. Don't agree. If you say Hal Jordan is the greatest Green Lantern of all time, not true. The greatest Green Lantern of all time is Sinestro. Sinestro is the greatest Green Lantern of all time. Became corrupt. Felt like he was above the Guardians. Didn't really respect the Guardians, and they play with a little bit of that in the movie. So if you can, like, I wish there was a way we can take like bits of the movie, bits of Green Lantern First Flight, and sort of, and maybe even the Emerald Knights, and sort of create a super edit of all three that changes mediums, but has like the story. Because by the time you get to like the animated series, Sinestro is still a Green Lantern, and he's like a very good Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
And he is yet to be corrupted, but you can tell he's like bending the rules to his will.
Yeah.
Which is kind of his main downfall. Like, and it happens in this, where when he interrogates people in this movie, there's a few different interrogations. He's like injuring people. He's like mentally and physically like tearing them down. And it's really hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's really hard to watch. He's just an asshole.
Yeah, there's some stuff in here. Because I remember, I don't think it was until later on with some of the DC animated films that like they made like a point of it being like PG-13 and being like, oh look, see how edgy these are now because they're PG-13. Or it's like, wait, what is this rated? Because there's like spoiler alert, I guess, to people that maybe didn't watch this yet, but like after he kills Kurtwood Smith's, aka Red Foreman's, his character in here, and then like he goes and like resuscitates him with the ring, and you just kind of like see like just like his organs, and like it's all like kind of like grim and like gory. There's like, yum. That's some.
What was it rated? Is it rated PG-13? I don't know where my physical copy is.
Let's see. PG-13. Sequences of sci-fi action violence.
Yeah, that's about right. That's a cool shiny cover.
Yeah, I had to look to find that because I didn't have the the slipcover for the original. I like having the slipcovers on all of them. So
Yeah.
but I like that one.
Yeah. So what did you okay, so okay, let me talk about this real quick because I think it's really fun. We do get the pre-credit sequence is the origins of Hal Jordan becoming Green Lantern, Abinsur's crash spaceship. What did you think of it's been different? It's different in the movie, it's different in well, I guess that's it. It's like I think it's different in there's a DC animated movie which I will probably cover on the show because it's so Hal Jordan centric is Justice League New Frontier, which takes place like in the 60s and stuff. It's amazing. But what do you think about Hal being in the simulator and the simulator flying away? Like that thing. It's not in the movie and it's not in the other one.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Like just the way that he's in there and he doesn't realize that it's like disconnected and like actually like flying through space. Well, not space, but through the sky. And then like opens it up and he's like what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I was like, well, what are the people at like Ferris thinking happened, like that he did?
I don't think you see any of the aftermath.
I just remember like they look up and they see like the hole. In the
right.
And then like he comes back later and they're just like they're not questioning who the dude was that brought Hal back.
Back, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I like how it's like, I think that's like 2 minutes into the movie, so it's like very quick and to the point, getting you like straight into the action right away. Like you're not spending like the first third of the movie with like Hal just as Hal and whatnot. It's like he's a Green Lantern before the opening credits. That's basically what starts the opening credits.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. Which, I like that. And then, like, you can kind of learn more about him during the course of the movie just through, like, his dialogue and whatnot and, like, how his characters, which is a good way to do it without, like, showing instead of telling, basically. So I did enjoy how that was done. And I like Christopher Meloni as Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of Training Day and, like, the whole equation of, like, Green Lanterns basically being cops, that's good casting with having a very actor that's very popular for playing.
He's been doing it for like 20 years or something.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's great. One of the things I like about the opening sequence is it's comic book accurate. The Silver Age comic book from 1962. I could be wrong. Again, this isn't a place to come for facts, Green Lantern facts. I'm a fan, but I don't. My mind isn't a steel trap of knowledge. But in Showcase 22, the introduction of Hal Jordan, we find him inside a simulator at Ferris Aircraft. So it's kind of cool. Like I was like, oh, this is like the first time like we've seen, or the only time we see him like in the simulator, getting pulled to Abinsur in the simulator.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. I haven't mentioned this, but I wrote like a treatment for a Green Lantern movie that uses something similar to the simulator, but different. And I think it's real good.
I knew that. Yeah. When I was watching it, I was like, wait, this seems sort of familiar to like, yeah. Cause you had sent it to me and I read through it, but yeah, it's similar, but different.
Right. I do like the simulator. It's fun because it's a quick, like, Hal doesn't want to be in a simulator. Hal never wants to be in a simulator. He wants to be flying. And so it's a nice quick way to get the banter between him and Carol, and sort of you get a glimpse into who this guy is. I think that with the exception of the Yellow Lantern ring, this would be a good sort of primer to watch before watching the animated series, which does not go over his origins at all.
Yeah. He's
like already. But I guess you were supposed to watch the movie first and then watch the animated series, like Batman, the animated series. They do talk about Thomas and Martha Wayne's death at points in the series, but it's not like the origins. It's like you've seen the movie, now watch the animated series. So I kind of like that. But this is a really good, I think, if I were to show anybody who didn't know what the character Green Lantern was, I feel like this would be a good one to do.
Yeah.
It's a real basic rundown. Like, hey, this is kind of what it's about. Outer space, which we didn't get in the movie. You know, Sinestro being bad, which you don't get in the movie. Well, post-credit scene, it's like, yeah. But yeah, you kind of get it that they are space cops, which, you know, I'm not really keen on cops, but especially Sinestro. And I think that's kind of more relevant today than it is, you know, back when this came out. Yeah.
All Green Lanterns are bad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It sucks. They need to come up with a different term than space cops. They've been using space cops for forever, but it's like, can we come up with a thing? They're just Green Lanterns.
Yeah,
it's like Jedi.
Yeah, I was gonna say now Jedi are the new space cops.
Yeah, they are. Like Acolyte. I don't know if you thought this while watching Acolyte, because you're not as wired into Green Lantern as I am. Where it's like, why can't there be a Green Lantern show like this? But it very much reminded me of Green Lantern with the Jedi being sort of arrogant on their high horse, not really, you know.
Yeah, and then kind of
seeing what's actually happening out there
and being stationed at different like sectors, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned Chris Meloni. There's also Victor Garber as Sinestro.
His first DC. His first DC role.
Is it?
I think so. Would be. Yeah, before he went on to, you know, be
Starfire.
Be Starfire and Legends and the Flash.
Starfire.
Yeah, or no, yeah, Firestorm.
Firestorm.
Yeah,
Starfire is in
Starfire is Teen Titans, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so is Firestorm.
Yeah,
but we know, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
he
designed the Titanic. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. He was Jennifer Garner's dad.
Yeah. There's some real interesting casting choices in it. All of them are like Henry Rollins as Kilowog, which I think is great.
Yeah,
it's great. This came before Green Lantern, the animated series, and the Green Lantern movie, and I'm like, okay, that's a good one. But once they went to like Michael Clark Duncan and Kevin Kevin Michael Richardson.
Oh yes, yeah, Kevin Michael.
Both of their names are 3. I gotten so used to them as the voice, but going back and listening to like Henry Rollins, I'm like, that's a really strong choice.
Yeah.
And then the weirdest one is John Larroquette as Tomar-Ray.
Yeah, for some reason I still hear Jeffrey Rush as
Tomar-Ray. It was someone different. I think the voice quality in the animated series sounded closer to this John Larroquette. Just a bizarre thing, especially since he's like such a minor character.
Yeah. Well, I'd also forgot that he gets killed off in this.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they killed Tomar-Ray off in this movie.
That's a thing where Tomar-Ray has like died in the comics and stuff. I love Tomar-Ray. So here's some fun stuff about Tomar-Ray. I don't know if you know this or not. So Tomar-Ray is from Sector 2813, which is a neighboring sector to 2814, which is where Earth is, and that's like how Jordan's precinct, or not precinct, but his whatever you call it, his beat. So 2813, he's really the first alien Green Lantern other than Abin Sur that Hal meets in the comics. Because in the comics, Abin Sur comes down to Earth. He's like, I'm a spaceman. Here, I'm going to give you this galactic ring that you can do whatever you want with. And now you can be as strong as this spaceman who was in this spaceship. And then he just starts like fighting purse snatchers and stuff and like gangsters. And it's like, it took a while to get the cosmic angle going in the book. But the first person we meet is Tomar-Ray, which is great in the movie, which I believe Tomar-Ray is really the first one to show up in this. he kind of presents himself first with Kilowog and Chip.
Yeah.
But so Tomar-Re, Mark, I don't know if you know this or not, but Sector 2813 was the home of Krypton, and Krypton was destroyed and imploded and whatever it did on Tomar-Re's watch. Like Tomar-Re could not get the Krypton in time to help people, and it's like this huge weight that weighs over Tomar-Re. So like Tomar-Re is cool, and it's such a I don't know when that storyline came around, but it makes sense that, you know, Krypton isn't in our sector, but it's next to it.
Right.
And it is really interesting. I find the Tomar-Re fascinating as a character just because of that. You know, it's I don't know who came up with that storyline, but I think it's brilliant because, you know, why should anything happen in a universe where there's Green Lanterns there to protect?
Right.
You know, so clearly there was a Green Lantern in that sector with where Krypton was. So I find it fascinating that it's not explored more. I feel like that would be a fun thing to go over. It's like never mentioned. I know in the movie, in the motion picture, Jeffrey Rush does mention that he's from Sector 2813, and that the reason why he's sent to talk to Hal is because he's like the closest thing, like genetic wise, to be like, okay, I do resemble a fish from your planet, but you know, you can't send someone like Chaselon who's like a crystal ball with tentacles. Like that would be jarring for someone who just landed on Oa. So I find the character fascinating. I wish they would do more with him, but a lot of times he's just killed off. Like he was killed off in the 90s. I don't even know if he's currently alive now. There for a while there was Tomar 2, TU, not the number 2, but I think that's an inside joke. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It was John Larroquette, and his performance is fine. He just really didn't have anything to do. And then I'm blanking on his name. He played Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. He was in A Bug's Life, so you probably Michael Landers. Is it Michael Landers?
Yeah.
Who's the grasshopper that's like foaming at the mouth and's got the crazy eyes? So that dude in the end credits bloopers has the voice of Michael Landers, and he is also the voice of Chip in this, which is a space squirrel.
It was good to see Chip in this. Get a little.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes in Green Lantern, and I could see why the movie maybe didn't do like a Chip, but it was good to see him in here, and make him a talking squirrel. Like this is pre Guardians of the Galaxy, and I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, like Green Lantern could have did it first,
Right.
But you know, James.
Yeah, I don't know how much you'd want to talk about
Superman.
Yeah,
I'll talk about it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, just because that. I mean, that seems like too, since it's James Gunn doing it, that like he'd want to put Chip in there because he's like, hey, I did a raccoon. Why not?
So for those of you that don't know, there's some pictures from the set of the Superman movie where they brought in a live squirrel in like a plexiglass box, and they had like peanuts and stuff to go and do a scene with Superman. Now it's Superman on his knee, like addressing this squirrel. Now, I don't know if Superman talks to regular animals
outside of crypto.
Right. I can only think that this is for a reference for a Chip type character. And if James Gunn puts Chip in the movie, I mean, I'm gonna love the movie. That's all there is to it. Chip is one of those ones. He's also has died several times. And then there was a Bidge, like Badger, but a BDG. and uh, yeah, he might be in the movie. I have high hopes that Chip is in the movie because I feel like I'm ready to move past the like Bryan Singer X-Men where we have to be serious and the costumes can't be colorful.
Right.
I think the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine is proving that like that's what people want is the comic accurate bright costumes. He did a great job on the Suicide Squad with those colorful costumes, comic
Yeah.
accurate. And so from what I've seen so far, um, the Superman movie looks pretty comic accurate. And I mean, if he's just going to go for it, then I'm all for having Chip in the movie because it's something where if you can get away with doing Chip in the movie, which he did with Rocket successfully, and all of Guardians 3 was all about like CG animals. Like we got to the point where we're all cool with talking animals. So if it can slip like just one scene, one short bit with Superman and Chip, like, and then just be like, okay, let's see if people go for it. Because if they go for that, then they could do any Green Lantern. They could do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Testing
you
out
get
before
Larvox, Medfill.
the live action TV series comes out. It's gonna be like, all right, people liked him in this. Will not now he'll show up in
I don't know about that. I don't know about that TV show because, like, the people doing it are they do dramas.
Yeah.
And like they worked on what like True Detective and The Leftovers and Lost and Watchmen and is there going to be room for a talking squirrel superhero?
I think so because I mean, there's plenty of comedy worked into Lost and The Leftovers.
Yeah.
I know they're top like drama top heavy, but I mean there's definitely plenty of comedic elements in like even in Watchmen there's a lot of comedic elements in that too even though that's got like a lot of heavy stuff in it, so there's a good like mixture of tone.
Do you think in Green Lanterns or in Lanterns, do you think we'll see Lube Man?
Yes.
Think Lube Man will make a reappearance?
Yes.
He would slide out of a different sewer.
Slides into the ring.
Puts it on.
Yeah. Falls off because there's too much lube.
As soon as he flies, it slips right off. That's great. Yeah.
Just in the background, just so people that are paying attention.
Sliding through space on his back.
Yeah. That'd be great.
100%. So let's talk about this movie. This movie is what I like. It's essentially a mystery story, or they're on the case, and they're looking for this stuff. They're looking for what's going on with Abin Sur. They're also tracking down Kanjar Ro, who has this staff that has crazy properties. Sinestro is working with him.
Yeah.
Was working with him secretly, and essentially like kind of lets Kanjar Ro go and frames Hal Jordan for doing it, or frames Hal Jordan for killing Kanjar Ro. And it's pretty good stuff. It's pretty good stuff. In the books, Sinestro is not really keen on Hal Jordan because him and Abin Sur were very, very close friends. It's like, someone that you think like Earth is essentially like a lower life form amongst like all of the universe. Like it's kind of new.
It makes sense.
So for Abin Sur, if your best friend, who is basically your brother, dies and one of these guys gets the ring, like he's really, really unhappy. So he doesn't give a shit about Hal whatsoever. It's pretty interesting. I do like it. I do like Hal is headstrong, calls out the Guardians. like which is like Green Lantern 101. Like Sinestro really doesn't like the Guardians and will just do stuff behind their back, but Hal will like confront the Guardians and be like, "You guys need to wake up. You really need to wake up." Um, um, but as far as like sort of a hero's origin and then a downfall of another hero, I think it's a really good storyline. I think a lot of these movies have to be like whatever it is, an hour and 10 minutes or something. They have to be short for some reason. I think it's contractually or something. Maybe if it runs over, it has to be treated differently. I don't know. I don't know why they have the short run times, but it is really nice that they're able to fit a really solid story with good action in a short amount of time. Lauren Montgomery directed this. I don't know what else they've done. I'd have to look it up. But I think that as far as like telling a Green Lantern story, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'd if I were to do a letterbox thing, which I probably should have, I would do at least four stars probably on it. I think it's a really concise story. I don't think there's any like lagging in it. Were you at any point where you're just like, oh, yeah, whatever?
No, I don't think so. I think like it moves along at it has pretty good pacing to it. Like
Yeah.
it's pretty like you get the recruitment, you get a little bit of Sinestro's like hidden agenda, and you get the Kanjar Row and like that whole stuff goes on. Then you get like the betrayal there. Then you get the climax on Quard, and then the final battle. So it's like just kind of keeps building. One scene. There's not like wasted scenes or anything in there. It's just
yeah, easy to follow. Nothing. I feel like. I mean, I know Green Lantern. I've been reading Green Lantern since like 1990, and I watched Super Friends when I was younger. It's. I feel like it's a really good showcase of the characters. It doesn't really. I don't find it confusing at all. I think it's concise. Like as someone who's not as familiar as Green Lantern, did you find anything confusing at all? Was it pretty much?
No, it does a pretty good job of like explaining to you like what's happening here, like how the powers work and all of that, and it does it in a way where it doesn't feel like it's being like exposition, like seen just to do exposition. It's like shown to you within like the context of the scenes and whatnot. So it's definitely, it doesn't feel like a chore. Like you're like, okay, yeah, now I get what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good primer. I think it's a good way to introduce people to the character. I think the animated series is awesome, but you really don't get the origin. It just kind of like thrusts you into it. So I think anytime anyone were to ask me like, hey, what's Green Lantern about? I'd say check out Green Lantern First Flight. No longer on Max.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just because like I think all their stuff's like all over the place now, because some stuff's on Amazon, some stuff's on Netflix. I think that's mostly just because they wrote all that stuff off for tax write-offs. So there used to be that whole like tile that was just all like DC stuff on when it was HBO Max. Now it's just Max, the place for HBO. So that's why I had to go pull that out last night and put the actual physical Blu-ray in to watch it. Watched it with the reactive lights, so it was all green.
Oh, really?
While I was watching it, yeah. So
that's cool. Pretty good. Is it pretty accurate?
Yeah, like the one I have, I think it's the Govee lights. So it's not it's not like those super like expensive Philips like Hue ones. Those are a little bit more reactive and a little bit like more. But I was like, it's good for like what it is. Like I think if it was
like green and yellow.
Yeah, so like I have lights under like the TV stand that are just like static, but then the ones that are set up behind the TV are reactive to whatever's on the screen. I think that the best thing that I've used to test it out at one point was like just like the Marvel Studios like opening logo, because that uses a bunch of colors in it, and especially with the like page flipping, you see like all of that going on in there. So
that's pretty fun.
Yeah. But yeah, like whenever like the screen is like fully green and like they're powering up the rings or stuff like that, it just like the entire back of the TV is green too. So it makes it feel like more immersive, because you're like, oh man, this light's like really, it's like coming out of the TV and it's in the room.
And like what better than Green Lantern, where it's all about, you know, light constructs and stuff, like the power is.
Yeah, you know. I posted I think on both Twitter and Blue Sky, I said that I was preparing for coming on this with you, and I posted.
You know what? I saw that. I didn't even realize that the walls were green and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to make sure I get that reposted, because I did notice that. I did see that post, but I didn't like. I was out and about all day. But that sounds fun. I don't know if I would do one of those. We have like an entertainment center where the TV's like inside, like a shelf.
It actually might work better in that too, because if your shelf, because I think it's like black paneling too.
Yeah,
it'll reflect off of that on the sides and the bottom and the back of it, so it might like tighten like the light reflective in it and make it feel even like more immersive because of that. It would just be a pain to put the lights on the back of the TV and then put the TV back where it was.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think Stevie asked me about that once, and I was like, no, I'm fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been rewatching like The Matrix and stuff, and I'm just like, something like that would be cool.
Yeah,
seeing the green lights going into the Matrix and whatever. Yeah, that is fun.
I think the Govee ones are cheaper too, because like that one I had sent to me, it was like a review thing, but I looked that up because they did like some tie-in with Dune recently, and I think that it was maybe like the same one that I had is, I think it was like $40, $50 maybe, if that, and you just control it with an app on your phone. So this episode is not sponsored by Govee.
They can if they want.
Yeah, if they want to, then they can send Ralph some Govee lights.
Yeah, I'll do a review.
Yeah,
I'll pop on the Green Lantern movie.
Which, speaking of the lights and stuff in here too, is I asked you before we came on live, was so like when Sinestro becomes a Yellow Lantern, like I know, like, you know, his suit becomes yellow and his ring turns yellow, but it still has the Green Lantern logo or crest or whatever you'd want to call it on the ring.
It doesn't have that
instead of the. Do you think that's actually an error in the movie, or it's just like a budget thing where like they didn't want to fully?
It could be a budget.
Make a new asset.
I feel like it could be a budget thing, because I don't think these movies really have like the biggest budgets. I think that's why they have to be a certain length, because I feel like if it goes past like an hour and 10 minutes, then it's considered like a feature or something, and then they have to like deal with like union stuff. I have no idea. Maybe we could have Lauren Montgomery on and talk about it. But I honestly believe it's something where it's like they have the models for the characters, they have the models for the ring. They didn't want to have to like redesign it,
right?
Because even on like the CG sort of power battery ball that Hal Jordan hits with the baseball bat, it just has the Green Lantern logo on it. It doesn't have, but Sinestro's chest has the Sinestro Corps logo on it. So it could be just a thing where they were just like, I don't know.
Like that was going to be the most noticeable thing that you'd see for the longest period of time on the screen. So they're like,
maybe.
All right, if we have to choose one thing to change, we'll focus on that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that whole sequence at the end is great too. And if you just think about like the actual like what all happens in that, like how many lanterns die in that, and like how many like die like off screen, like in probably pretty horrific ways if they were just like in space and then didn't have any protection from space, and then we're just like, you know.
Yeah, there's like what 3,600 sectors, and during the Jeff Johns run they said that there's going to be 2 Green Lanterns per sector, so it's like, you know, 6,400. And I mean, they're always in space.
Yeah.
And if you just cut their lifeline, like there's a lot. Like you see all those rings drop. It's pretty horrific. It's a major act of evil.
Yeah, that's like it's almost like Green Lantern. Well, I mean, it's not genocide because there's still some, but it's like almost
Yeah.
Green Lantern genocide.
So the weight of it, like it adds stakes. I know it's a cartoon and whatever, but it is like it is pretty horrific for them to say, like flat out say, like it was like he thought about it ahead of time. Like
Yeah,
part of the plan is it wasn't like he put on the yellow ring and was corrupted. He wanted the yellow ring. When he put on the yellow ring, it looked like it hurt, but he still feels like this is what he wants and this is what he wants to do. And he flat out just says, all those people out there, all those lanterns out there without their life support are gone. And it's like, holy cow, like it's pretty bad. It's
yeah,
pretty bad. Um, the climax where Hal gets overpowered and stuff is kind of it's fine. I don't think it
yeah.
needs. I don't think he needs to have any sort of superpower like more than normal. Like it doesn't need to be like
Super power.
glowing green. Yeah, because I kind of feel like one of the great things about Green Lantern is that you know you could push the ring as far as your willpower will let you. So if you have a lot of willpower, then you can overcome great fear. And this is almost like Hal wouldn't be able to do it on his own, so he needed to be souped up. I would have liked to have just seen Hal Jordan just like really dig in into his willpower and
Yeah,
just defeat Sinestro like on an even playing field, as opposed to having this crazy fiery energy and stuff. I know you want to make the like climax cool and stuff, but I think it would have been nice just to see Hal Jordan do it, you know.
yeah. Because I think that was maybe the only thing I was confused about was like, oh, what's that? Like why? Like what's going on there? Like he's like just like
It doesn't. It's not really a thing that happens in the comics.
it's like flubber.
Yeah, yeah. But like so, in the comics, really the only thing that can soup you up, and you see this in the animated series, is the Blue Lantern energy of hope will spruce up a Green Lantern's powers, and so they weren't going to set up Blue Lanterns in this. So I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why to make him overpowering, like make him like this crazy, like godlike being and stuff. Like I would have just liked to have seen just like a battle between these two guys, like just duke it out, like they live, or it's just this long just fight where they're just you
Oh
know
yeah,
both giving it everything they have. Sinestro using all his abilities to create fear, and Hal using all the willpower that he can muster up. I think that's a much better climax than having someone overpowered. You know,
yeah. And I thought like Hale was doing a pretty good job with just like being creative about like as far as like what like he was constructing to like just beat the crap out of the yellow lantern battery in this like I mean it was what it was a golf club and then like a baseball
a
uh,
baseball bat, a
bat and
hammer.
then yeah it was gonna be a such yeah um, but yeah and then I just thought that was I think that's one of the cooler things about like Green Lantern 2 is like just basically if you can think about whatever it is you want to make with it you can make that.
Jager Hoover shows up.
Yeah, there you go.
It's one of the things that I love about the comic books, and it's kind of in this a little bit, is Hal Jordan usually sticks to basic things like fly swatters, baseball bats, boxing gloves, baseball gloves, stuff like that. And so you kind of get that in this. One of my favorite things is though, like you have someone like Kyle Rayner, who's an artist who does like draws straight comic books. He's just a graphic designer for like advertising in Superman the animated series. He was he did the comic strips for the Daily Planet. So he's got very very artist-centric constructs. So like if you look at the statue behind me, he's created a giant sort of mech, like a Gundam almost, that he's riding the back of, and the Gundam shooting missiles out. It's amazing. Um, John Stewart, who is an architect, also was a Marine, will do stuff from the Marines like sniper rifles, tanks, or whatever, military equipment, but also he'll do these like architectural type designs, very precise. Like you could see the graph paper in his constructs where he's like drafting out like these different weapons and stuff. So that's one of my favorite things about Green Lanterns. Maybe I'll bring this up to you, and maybe this should be a question from here on out with every guest. If you were to make one construct, what do you think your construct would be? I know this was coming. I didn't know it was coming either.
That's what she said.
I mean,
is that like, would it work the way that thing would work normally?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in the movie, Hal Jordan makes a chainsaw and it buzzes and works like a chainsaw. Like it constructs what you're thinking. So like, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think of maybe like I don't want to say it, but I have something in mind for you already based on what we talked about top of the show.
Oh yeah, I guess I was gonna say, I guess you could do like web shooters if you want to shoot. So you could effectively be a Green Lantern that was a Spider-Man, like a Spider Lantern. So that's another amalgam comic that they can do in the future, because they have Iron Lantern. I was looking over here, like a DeLorean with a flux capacitor inside of it, just made out of.
Oh, so would it function? Would it be able to go back in time? I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder how that would work.
I have seen Kyle Rayner. I've seen Kyle Rayner driving around the galaxy in like a convertible, like Chrysler or something. So you can make that. You can 100% make it. Whether it would go back in time, I don't know.
Only one way to find out, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
You just have to drive it around the Earth a bunch of times in a row.
Yeah, backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that would be a good question to keep asking people, because that's you could make a lightsaber, I guess, out of it.
And I bet
you're already doing light.
Yeah, I bet you someone has.
Yeah, I had a question for you, because I saw something recently that the color purple kind of more or less cancels out the color yellow recently. Like if you place the color purple over the color yellow, has that ever been like because I think the closest lantern to that would be the indigo, right?
Right. The Star Sapphire is technically violet.
Okay.
If you look at the comics, this is very, very pink. If you look at the comics, their rings tend to be more on the violet side than the pink side. It's just their outfits are pink. It's kind of a little bit of a retroactive thing, because Star Sapphire's been around since the 60s, and they had a pink outfit, but the Star Sapphire emblem on the stomach, on the belt, was always a purple violet. I don't know if anything like that has come up as far as how they affect. I know blue will make green brighter, but I feel like with willpower, if you add hope to your willpower, that makes you stronger as a person. But there's definitely things like the blue lantern can squash out the red lantern, but I think that's just on a mental level. Like any rage you have can be squelched by hope.
Right.
So let's say right now, if there was some sort of thing going on in the world that makes you mad, if you have hope for the future, it might put you more at ease. So, but I don't know as far as actually like using the spectrum. I'm looking at my rings now, if anyone's looking or wondering what I'm looking at. I don't know if there's anything that does that, like blue and yellow does, or blue and green doesn't make yellow, or anything like that. Yellow and blue make green. Like I don't think there's anything like that.
That could be a cool story, especially since Kyle Renner is a graphic designer, to like do like a story based like on color theory, to like have it like be that like where like this color cancels out that, and so So I was wondering that like if there's like the Indigo Lantern could basically take out Yellow Lanterns easier because it cancels out
Right.
that color.
Well, I'll tell you this now. On the most recent issue of Green Lantern, the comic Green Lantern number 13, we do see Kyle Rayner kind of hunched down in the corner. He's not doing so hot, but every color of the spectrum is swirling in his uniform.
Nice.
So maybe we'll get maybe we'll get that. Maybe we'll see in the future if that happens. But yeah, do you have anything else to talk about with this movie? I thought the music was great.
Oh yeah, I thought that was really well done in it too. Like I really liked the music. Like we already kind of said that I thought the pacing was really well done. The climax of the
animation itself.
Yeah, the animation was really well done. Yeah, because like some of especially some of the earlier like DC animated films, like the quality can kind of has like a kind of whole spectrum.
Yeah.
Well, for lack of a better term, like spectrum,
right.
That it's can kind of go on there. But I think this one is definitely like one of the that looks, especially putting in like the actual physical Blu-ray for this, and like watching that, like you could really see like how the different colors pop, and not just because the light was behind the TV too, but like just because I liked the animation in this a lot, and then the more recent like Tomorrowverse that they've done in the DC animated stuff that has kind of like the thicker like lines for the.
They did that with Beware My Power, the John Stewart Green Lantern one, and I really liked that style of art.
Yeah,
like the thick outer lines with the thinner lines inside and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think that's like that more recent stuff is like maybe the only kind of contender for as far as DC animated films pre-gun DCU animated film TV shows, because who knows like what'll happen there, because I know they just finished off all of that stuff by doing the Crisis trilogy animated films, but yeah, I think overall I liked the animation in this a lot, and there's like some stuff that like feels very like kind of Bruce Timm-esque, as far as like it feels like it could fit like within like the Justice League animated series, or like Batman animated series or Superman animated series.
Or something.
Yeah, it felt. And
or not Young Justice.
Bruce Timm, I think, is a producer on this too, right? Was that? I think I saw his name.
I did not notice. Yeah.
So maybe that's why if I'm kind of on like consciously noticing some kind of similarity there, it's because I want to say that he was a producer on this. I'm gonna double check to make sure that I'm.
Yeah, I like the character designs. I'm a fan of classic white gloves for Hal, which he didn't have. But I do like sort of the gauntlets. It's along the lines of John Stewart, except he has like the green gauntlets, but black gloves. I thought that was okay. I really liked the design of Hal and Sinestro and all the characters. They felt real cohesive.
Yes.
All the aliens, a lot of fun alien designs.
Yeah, a lot of like subtle stuff in the background that like I've
in the
seen.
cantina.
Yeah, like I've seen some of these like in the animated series, like some of those characters like more fleshed out, but it was cool to kind of see them just kind of random.
Yeah.
Like you said there, who was the one that was like a disco ball?
That is Chase-Alon. Chase-Alon.
Oh yeah.
So he shows up in this, and he's in Green Lantern in the animated series.
Nice.
I have all, all kinds of stuff.
I double checked. Bruce Timm is a producer on First Flight, so
okay.
I guess there you go.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's terrific. I think if anybody ever asks anybody like who's a Green Lantern fan, hey, like, what should I check out? And I would say, see if Max has Green Lantern First Flight again or not.
If not, I think this movie is like $4 to rent if you needed to rent it. So it's not like it's
breaking
outlandish.
Yeah. It's like a box of Triscuits or something.
Yeah.
So Mark, Animation Fascination, we can find you there, which
Yeah.
is a show that covers all kinds of animation. Where else can we find you?
Yeah, so animationfascination.net, or animated podcast for like any social media website. And then outside of animation, if you want to, I mean, Ralph's got Star Wars with live action Star Wars. If you want to hear me talk about Star Wars, you can go to holdopod.com or just at holdopod and any social media thing. And then
I've been on a handful of those.
yeah. And then we'll have to get you on an episode of this show too soon. And if you guys like Ted Lasso, I have the Richmond Way, which is richmondwaypod.com. It's also Richmond Way Pod and all social stuff, and that's a Ted Lasso rewatch podcast where we just started getting into season 2. It's not out yet because we're kind of banking a bunch. So the next one that's going to be out is our Phoenix Fan Fusion panel from that. That'll be out from people. If you're watching this live, that one will be out on this following Monday. So cool. That one I cry in if you want to watch it.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of crying on the Richmond Way? I haven't really watched it. I watched Ted Lasso when it came out, but I never really followed anything past it.
This is my first time rewatching through the show too, and unfortunately some stuff is hitting closer to home in watching it during this rewatch. I was like, yep.
So
yeah,
if you want to just have a good time, go watch Holdopod and Animation Fascination, and then if you're looking for have a nice somber sort of kickback.
We have fun there too.
Yeah. I know. Well, cool. Thanks for joining me. We'll have to have you on again, or I'll have to have you on. Hey, I don't have a co-host. This is like
the royal we.
Yeah. So yeah, if there's anything out there you ever want to talk about, I don't know if there's not that much to talk about Green Lantern wise other than like the books, but
you can do
stretch this thing out as much as I can.
You can do a whole Green Lantern episode about how John Diggle was actually John Diggle Stewart on the Arrowverse TV show. So he was meant to be a Green Lantern for a very long time.
He was Spartan, right?
Yeah, like they really wanted to make David Ramsey, not the money guy, but the David Ramsey, the actor. They wanted to make him Green Lantern on the show, but
Warner Brothers is like, no Green Lantern, and Zack Snyder was like, I want to put John Stewart in my Justice League, no Green Lantern. And it's like, why? I don't know what is going on. I think it's Ryan Reynolds. I think he keeps putting Green Lantern jokes in Deadpool, reminding people about Green Lantern, and it just hasn't like the sort of stink that WB sees that's on Green Lantern. I don't think has gone away, and I'm hoping Deadpool Wolverine does not have any Green Lantern mentions in it, so that we can just move past that whole thing. Ryan Reynolds, come on the show. I have to talk to you about some things. Yeah, and then you have that book, that Secret Origins Green Lantern book you have. That's the one.
It's got a forward.
Ryan Reynolds, where he just talks about how great Green Lantern is. But the thing is, like, Ryan Reynolds, listen, dude, come on the show. I want to talk. Because there's a time when you liked Green Lantern, and Green Lantern was super cool, and then you started bashing on it. And I honestly believe like that's the reason why we're not getting more Green Lantern. Dude, it took like 7 years for you to get the opportunity to make Deadpool right after Wolverine Origins. You lucked out by having this character you like get a redemption to get it done right. Green Lantern fans have been waiting 14 years for that to happen, and we still haven't seen it yet. And so, like, come on, let's talk about it. Tell everyone Green Lantern's okay, and that it's okay for Warner Brothers to let Green Lantern be in stuff, because it is.
I think if there's going to be any Green Lantern thing in Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't know how they would do it, but it would be kind of cool because I know there's going to be like all these variants of different versions of Deadpool in there. Have a green pool, or a Dead Lantern. I don't.
This is what I want,
Just
and I know it's never gonna happen.
Deadpool wearing a Green Lantern. Right?
Just have Green Lantern in the movie. Like if DC and Warner's was cool enough, if Ryan Reynolds approached James Gunn, like I could see James Gunn saying like, yeah, just do it. We don't care. Like how fun would that be?
Maybe
anything to see Green Lantern on the big screen for me is a major plus. If they make fun of it, fine. I don't need Deadpool to cut off his head. We've already seen him shoot, Ryan Reynolds in the head for reading the Green Lantern. Like, embrace it. Let's get Green Lantern in Deadpool.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it would be nuts. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, we've seen all the different Deadpools coming out of the smoke with...
Yeah, you can just have it, like, kind of obscured in smoke still.
You could be the guy back here.
You can just see a little bit of green light
yeah,
in there, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing.
Just do it. But make it a thing that we embrace the character in the movie again. And I mean, it's not the best, but it also just, if you just let it go and tell everybody Green Lantern's okay, then we can start getting back to our Green Lantern redemption, much like he got his Deadpool redemption. But again, like, I don't know if one of the 6 people watching this live stream are Ryan Reynolds, but if you are, come join me.
It's probably Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing anything now. The movie premiere's done. What do they got going on?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wrexham season's over.
Right, yeah. I'm excited about it. I've known for about a year and a half one of the cameos, and I haven't told anybody. Also, I don't want to ruin it, but I'm very excited about it. So, yeah. So, cool. Marc, thank you for joining me. We'll have you back on. I'll have you back on. Right. Come back sometime. And for everybody else, beware my podcast. It's Lanterns Live. Bye.